Welcome back, you fine folks. I know we were just streaming, but we got one more game, and it's Mars versus Envert. Um, we'll go over these lists a little bit later, but I just definitely wanted to put them on display here. So pause if you want to look at those. But the players are already going, so let's make sure to not miss any of the action. Viper Probe down for Mars. He's going to go first, followed by a Cartel Spacer for Envert, and Mars will end up with initiative here going into round two. Yeah, I didn't realize I was going to catch another one so soon, or I would have stayed live. Um, but I'm really glad we were able to catch this one as well. So, Krennic Green versus Double Yellow Boba. Temp Boba is definitely one of my favorite lists in the game right now. I've been playing this list consistently for months now, and I've got to say the way it plays is so smooth. It feels like a ton of fun. I should say so. Yeah, Mars is up here, going going for the next turn. Got some interesting choices. You can go for like a Power of the Dark Side to remove a Cartel Spacer. You could go for an attack and see what Envert drops here, or you could go for a Super Laser Tech. Laser Tech coming down here seems good. Cartel Spacer will go to the base, and the Viper Probe will also go to the base. Envert's going to drop down that 7 Fleet Defender, and Mars will take initiative. These players are moving fast. Now, in my experience, the Krennic Green is a very strong counter to the Boba Yellow. Of course, if Boba Yellow can arena dodge like he's doing right now, and take care of the space arena and just do a ton of damage that way, it can, be very hard for Krennic to deal with that with single cards. So, okay, early cunning here. He's going to give a +4 attack for this turn to the Cartel Spacer, and he's going to force a random discard. Nice. Getting rid of the Power of the Dark Side. That's good. We'll see the Viper Probe go 3 more to the base and 6 going into the base for. Yeah, it should be 8 damage. Okay, there we go. Cool. Yeah, total of 8 damage to the base there with that Cartel Spacer attack for 6. Super Laser Tech gonna, go into the base as well. Nothing else he could really do there. Unfortunately, here I'm just not seeing, you know, number of good things to deal with that ground arena that Krennic's building. We'll see the Cartel Spacer exhaust that Viper Probe. That's quite a solid play. Krennic will deploy, followed by Boba Fett, and Steadfast will come out and defeat that Boba Fett. That's exactly how Krennic wants to play this matchup. So fantastic job there to deal with that. And yeah, the Spacer will just deal 2 damage. And that's really all he can do. Krennic's able to heal that back up and deal 2 damage. Should be at 14. Yeah. And yeah, from Krennic and the Super Laser Tech, 2 damage each. He was at 10. Could have been going 14. So Maybe he did. I don't know. I honestly can't tell. It's yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. So steadfast will go back to hand. Okay. Apologies for that. If I got it wrong, I missed some things because they move so fast. It's hard to keep track of it all sometimes. Cantina Bouncer will bounce that Steadfast Battalion back though, and here, our Krennic player, he's got some choices to make. Does he go for the overwhelming barrage? Could be all right. He could also go for a vanquish. I don't personally think it's that strong, but I do like the barrage. He's gonna put it on super laser tech. That's interesting. I guess he's gonna kill the super laser tech anyway. So that, yeah, fair enough. Super laser tech will go into that bouncer. Envert will take the initiative, and yeah, he'll be up 17 HP on the base. Now this is where you'd think a Bodhi Rook would be really good, but he only has one option right now, and that with the Vanquish. I think. Let's see, 1 up to 7. He's gonna drop a Fet's Fire Spray. Okay. So we could see that Syndicate Lackey. Okay, so that's gonna defeat the Viper Probe. And Bodhi will take a look at the hand and get rid of that Vanquish. And we'll see the Reinforcement Walker deploy here. Drawing a card. He's thinking about getting rid of it for HP, but I think he's going to take it. Good choice, in my opinion. He's got 2 Gideon Hasks. Yeah, that's a nasty card to run into if you are the Boba player. And Envert's going to concede this one, it looks like. No answers to the big ground arena that Krennic has developed. And we're on to game 2. This time, Boba will start with initiative. And let's briefly take a look at those lists again. Very important to know your sideboard matchups. So into this one, Envert could be bringing in those 4-cost Spark of Rebellions. I know it's a little hard to see on my chart, but you can always take a look at the lists posted on the Take the Initiative Substack here. I'm going to link it in the chat so that way everybody can see it. But he also has some Change of Hearts, which could be good to finish things off. And yeah, personally, I would get rid of the Jabba the Hutts, but I totally understand wanting those in. For Mars, he's got an interesting sideboard too. A lot of big stuff like Relentless a good bit. Of course, Super Laser Blast is quite solid, and Make an Opening is actually really good to deal with shielded units, of which Boba has 6 with the cartel. With the Crafty Smugglers and the 7th Fleet Defenders. So I quite like bringing those in as a anti-Boba card with maybe a Super Laser Blast as well. But 1 is also solid. You don't need a ton against something like a Boba Fett yellow. All right, I think these players are done sideboarding. So let's go ahead and look there. Not the best hand in the world for Mars. Envert definitely liking this hand though quite a bit. Got some good early plays. There's a little bit of a better hand for Mars. It's got some Consortium Star Vipers, which will allow him to deal with the space units. So turn one play here, we're going to see the Greedo come down. Mars is just going to take the initiative. No turn one play. One into round two here. I think getting rid of that Syndicate Lackey is okay. Super Laser Tech will come down for the Krennic player. And we'll see a Swoop Bike Racer. 4/3 card there. Solid to deal with, or to get all this aggro in there. So I like that. He will trade off that Greedo with this Super Laser Tech. And the Swoop Bike will swoop in for 4 more damage. And we'll see Krennic. Not sure why he exhausted 5 resources. I think he was trying to do 2 actions at once there. And here, I think an Overwhelming Barrage is overwhelmingly the best play. 4 damage to kill the Gamoran guards, and he can go ahead and kill the Swoop Bike to get 4 damage on him and heal 2 from the base. And Krennic is definitely taking control now. That Power of the Dark Side is probably the highest value card he has right now. Anything that we can see come out here, like the Bosk, can be instantly removed with the Power of the Dark Side. So I think we're probably going to see that into maybe a Cell Block or a Consortium Star Viper, something like that. Also, Steadfast is not bad here, but it just doesn't use the resources as much. Should Cargo Juggernaut, though, with the ECL, will allow him to take damage and then put a shield on. So he can. I guess he's not going to do that. Personally, I think that's the best choice you can do to avoid getting killed in one shot and also getting the +1 benefit from Krennic. So a slight misplay there from Mars, but nothing that's going to ruin his game, as he has a fantastic Power of the Dark Side here onto a Boba Fett, and he's going to do that. So Boba getting removed very quickly both games here, and we'll see a Fett's Fire Spray come down. If only he had another Power of the Dark Side, but unfortunately he does not. Yeah, going into that, I think the Inferno is a solid play. He doesn't have to worry about his HP too much here. He's only at 9 damage, which isn't bad. Keeping both cards on top is a kind of a power move there. They must be quite good. and Boba Fett will end up with the initiative here after Mars passes. Yeah, 14-4. Obviously Krennic doesn't worry about damage early too much. I'll make sure. Oops. That's the second crash we've had today, folks. Maybe I need a new computer or something. I don't know. I hope it's not on my side. That would be a annoying issue to have reoccurring. All right, we'll take a momentary break here as he reconnects, and yeah, we'll catch up here in a second. Trying to make sure this is angled correctly. It was brought up in the chat by Burner, so sorry about that, Burner. I didn't mean to break your neck. On my screen, I think my screen might be a little crooked here, so hopefully that fixes things a little bit. Sorry about that, dude. And Envert goes for the kill there. Very interesting choice. As now he would be in takedown range if. Or sorry, no, he went to base. Okay, sorry. Envert went to base with the fire spray, and then we saw the um, attack come from the Inferno 4, which put him into takedown range, and then Bodhi to remove it. Vader here, gonna go for a cell block guard. And of course, Envert, that will give him the game win. Surprise strike with that Fett's Fire Spray to clear things up. And we are on to game 3, folks. I don't believe there's anything that Mars can do here. Yep, nothing. Deal 4 damage to the base, but that's just a. Yep, and Envert already has his play ready. There is that surprise strike, and that will be it. So again, we are on to game 3 here. Envert definitely working hard to bring this one back. Um, honestly, without that Fett's Fire Spray and the Bodhi Rook, he needed that Bodhi Rook for sure. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Mars has a much better hand this game. Last game, having no turn 1 play is quite bad. So we'll see Season Short Trooper into Cartel Spacer, and Mars will take the initiative, of course. Here, I think you can just resource the resupplies. Honestly, into this matchup, having a resupply is not going to be the difference in your game, and being able to deploy a 2-1 at the very least is worthwhile in some respects. Of course, he hasn't been able to. Maybe he's thinking, since the super laser tech is um, not being killed off fast enough for him, he wanted to keep it. So, yeah, interesting choice there. So we will see super laser tech come down. And going over to Envert. He's only got a Bodhi Rook he can put down, but unfortunately, there's no um, event in hand that he can get rid of, or non-unit card. And here for Krennic, he can choose to take the initiative or deal the 2 damage to the base. He's going to do 2 to Bodhi. Envert just taking the initiative. Yeah, and on to turn 3 here. Bodhi's going to hit the base. Of course, order of operations being very important. Death Troopers can still come down and kill the Super Laser Tech for Bodhi. But I like that. Now having 5 resources, he can force a discard here. Getting rid of a cell block guard. So I think we'll see Krennic into a battlefield or steadfast battalion. Or no, okay, that makes sense. You can do the Inferno 4 into Death Troopers to deal damage to Krennic and um, yeah. He's gonna just deal it to himself, I guess. Okay, that makes sense. It does keep him out of Syndicate Lackey range, which is quite good. I'm not sure if Death Troopers are the correct call here. I do like keeping Cell Block around. It's interesting that he chooses not to go for the um, Royal Guards. Emperor's Royal Guards is quite good in the Krennic list. But yeah, Cell Block is still solid. All right, so Syndicate Lackeys will trade with that Death Trooper. And Krennic is working on trading out that Cartel Spacer. Boba deploy here is instantly canceled out by the Steadfast. Good. Always has been. And Envert will just end up taking the initiative. Oh, nice. Power of the Dark Side here is quite solid, as well as the Make the Opening. You can actually do one of those into each other and have a quite devastating turn here. So Cartel Spacer will go into it. He's actually just going to trade it with the Inferno. Not a bad choice either. And he doesn't like either of those cards, so he's going to put them on the bottom. Okay, and there's the Make an Opening, proving its value. Boba Fett coming down here. 3-5 is interesting. Do you choose to kill off the steadfast for it? I think you do. You get to do 2 damage to the base, and you get to trade up. He's going to choose to do 7 to the base, or 5, and then give 2 to Krennic. Okay, so Krennic's going to deal 4 to Boba Fett and 3 to himself. So I guess he gets to keep Steadfast alive. That's actually a really smart play. I like that from Mars. And then the Death Troopers coming down will kill Boba Fett and deal 2 damage to himself. Yeah, that's a tremendous play. Change of heart here would be a brutal turn if Mars didn't have all the answers he needed. He's got every single one of them lined up. So no matter what we see come down here, so change of heart is going to be the play on the Steadfast Battalion. Unfortunately, that's just going to be dealt with either a overwhelming barrage or a power of the dark side. I think overwhelming barrage is better slightly because he can guarantee a removal on the Fett's fire spray. He can also just trade off the Death Troopers as well. But I think the overwhelming barrage is just slightly better. That's what he's going to go with. And six damage to the base with the Death Troopers, and 3 damage with Krennic healing 2 from his own. And this has definitely swung back in favor of the Krennic player. Pulling a Cantina Bouncer, and I didn't see what he put down there, but it must not have been a good card. Bouncer here to remove the Death Troopers is okay, but it honestly is not game changing. He has 3 resources, but he can't do anything with them. So that's unfortunate. And I think Krennic going to the base here for 3 more is just solid play. He can remove it with the power of the dark side, which is actually quite solid here. I know he's trying to save it for a Fett's fire spray, but okay. And the cargo juggernaut coming down is also nice. Of course, now cunning can be played or surprise strike for damage. He's gonna go for the kill on Krennic. And Bouncer will take only 3 damage in return. Juggernaut will kill the Bouncer, and Fire Spray will be traded out by Power of the Dark Side. Envert taking initiative. Inferno 4 comes down. And being able to search your deck like this to guarantee the cards you're going to get next turn, or guarantee that you're not going to pull those cards just yet, is quite powerful. And I don't see, honestly, a way for Envert to come back from this. I think it's just a little bit, he was a little bit too slow, and Krennic had all the right cards when he needed them. Fett's Fire Spray, again, will be taken care of by Power of the Dark Side. 2 for 2 on the Fire Sprays. And Envert just has to take the initiative while taking 6 damage, and a Steadfast Battalion is deployed. He's got no answers, and that is GG, folks. Well played to both of these guys. Unfortunately, I mean, Envert can slow it down by playing the cunning, but that ultimately just delays it for a turn, and yeah, eventually. Okay, so he's gonna send it back to hand. Yeah, it just delays it a turn, honestly, and gives Mars plenty to work with here. He can redeploy Inferno and a Seasoned Shore Trooper, and then also have enough to kill any unit that Envert can deploy. But it's always good to play it out as much as possible. Bodhi will get rid of that Vanquish, so that is good. But Darth Vader can still come down here and destroy his day. And I believe that is GG. Well played to both of these guys. I know it's Envert here is actually from St. Louis area. I've played him a couple times, I believe, through the online portal, and of course, he won one of the 1Ks I went to. I believe using this deck, if I'm not mistaken. So he's definitely solid with it, but Krennic is the ultimate counter to a Boba Yellow. Um, Unfortunately, at the end of the day, got to roll with the punches. Unfortunately, with the matchups here, and that's why I'm definitely going to make a video here at some point on the YouTube. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, I haven't posted on there just yet. But it'll be about the best tournament deck, which I believe is the Krennic Green because it has answers to every single archetype in the game that is played, including the Sabines, including all the Bobas, and Control as well. So I definitely think Krennic Green is the strongest tournament deck. So stay tuned for a deck tech video about that and how to play in a tournament setting because it definitely is different than playing games. One game just for one game. I think Boba does well in that regard, but ultimately you need to be there for the long haul. So yeah, great job, Mars. Congrats on the victory, and we'll see you in the top 8.